And we are live. Good morning, Crypto Warriors, and welcome back to the Gentlemen of Crypto, episode 728. Today is Tuesday, May 25th, 2021, and I'm King.
And I'm Bitcoin Zay, and we're here to bridge the gap between cryptocurrency and the community Monday through Friday at 10-ish.
At 10-ish, and today we have a special guest here to join us, which we will shortly introduce. But our top stories for the day are Bitcoin Mining Council emerges following meeting with Michael Saylor and Elon Musk. You gotta love it. I rather Bitcoin over bonds. Billionaire investor Ray Dalio, and of course we will be talking about CMorq, an organized blockchain data company, and we are fortunate enough to have their CEO and founder here today. Again, we will be introducing him in 3, 2, 1. Good morning and welcome to the show, Hossein Azari.
Hey,
how you doing today?
Welcome, Jose. Welcome.
Good
Nice
morning.
to have you, brother.
Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for being here. Of course, we can't wait to hear about what your company's doing in the space, as well as your thoughts on some of the things that's going on in the space today. But first and foremost, Bitcoin Zay, what's up with those prices?
Oh, yeah.
Exciting
So,
days.
yep. Oh, yeah. So let's take a look at these prices. For today, Bitcoin at $37,593, down 0.4%. Ethereum at $2,547 is up 6.5%. Binance Coin at $324 is up 4% today. Cardano at $1.52 is up 2.6%. Dogecoin at 34 cents is up 3.4%. XRP trying to get back to $1 at 93 cents is up 8.5%. Polkadot at $21.12 is up 4%. And rounding out the top 10 is Internet Computer at $135, down 9.3%. Still not sure how Internet Computer is hanging on strong, but again, we do see two stable coins in the top 10. People still flipping in and out of stable coins and trading. And as far as the price, a lot of the coins have rebounded. A big rebound by, I believe, Matic had 112% gain in one day. So a lot of V-shaped charts for a lot of the altcoins bouncing back. Could be a dead cat bounce, but we'll see. So yes, definitely don't panic.
There we go. Get some quick shout outs. We can start Milto, P-Man Van, Chappie, JBSC, Wendy Nichols, Madam Crypto, Lyle Gibson, Honcho, Clove, Kadeem, Fanteezy, Ashley, Jiu-Jitsu, Les Square, New Jersey is in the house, of course. Litmo, Alfonso, Ray, and everyone else. We see the chat room is getting filled up. DC, Miriam, Blues Lover, Parabolic. What's going on, Parabolic? Litmo, West, everybody in here. And I want to give a special shout out to CBTV. Crypto Blood is in the house. What's up, CBTV? If you all don't know about CBTV, you are missing out. He is one of the original crypto OGs out there and one of the longest running crypto YouTubes out there as well. Has a wealth of knowledge, trading groups, awesome that stuff. You guys love talking about altcoins that we don't do Monday through Friday. Holla at CBTV Crypto Blood. He'll definitely go into detail with some of the things happening in the market as well. We'll have him on the show here soon as well. We gotta get these guest appearances back up. Clove 71, welcome. Thank you for the tip. We appreciate it. All right. Top story of the day: Bitcoin Mining Council emerges following meeting with Michael Saylor and Elon Musk. Ooh. Bitcoin Zay, what is going on with this story?
Oh yeah. So the CEO of MicroStrategy brokered a successful, quote unquote, successful meeting between Elon Musk and North American Bitcoin miners. So the North American Bitcoin mining industry appears to be moving towards greater environmental sustainability after Michael Saylor brokered a successful meeting between Elon Musk and several prominent business leaders. The council is made up of leaders like Argos Blockchain, BlockCap, Galaxy Digital, Hive Blockchain, Hut 8 Mining, Marathon Digital, and Riot Blockchain. They've all agreed to promote energy usage, transparency, and accelerate sustainability initiatives worldwide. And before you get scared and think to yourself, hey, these people are trying to take over the industry, one thing they did note is that combined, all of these companies only have 10% of the hashing power, and they already reveal, or the transparency that they're asking for, they already reveal how they get their renewable energy sources. But one chart I do want to bring up here, because I do need people to understand that most of the time this argument is a non-starter, simply because if you look at the share of primary energy from renewable sources, Bitcoin outdoes China, United States, and the whole damn world as far as a share of primary energy from renewable sources. So when you speak about the incentive to use clean energy, that is what Bitcoin is. So a lot of talk about it, I believe, because Elon Musk came out with the environmental argument, all of a sudden now there's this big push to try and figure out how to have cleaner Bitcoin mining. And I hope that it doesn't mess with the fungibility of Bitcoin. One Bitcoin still needs to equal one Bitcoin. There's no clean and no dirty Bitcoins. Kevin O'Leary, There's no there's no other type of Bitcoin. So I want people to understand both sides of the story. But at the end of the day, a group of people meeting in a secret place to come up with ideas leads you down a rabbit hole. It's definitely opening Pandora's box.
And it looks like people are not excited about this. What's going on, Heather Adams? Welcome to the show from North Carolina. But before we do a deep dive into this story, the top story of the day, again, we are talking about Elon Musk and Michael Saylor. They've created this Bitcoin mining council, stealing narratives, huh? But who knows? Before we get into that, I want to get over to Hossein. Again, we have a special guest today, Hossein Azari. Please introduce yourself and tell us about your crypto journey. How did you get into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency?
Thank you, King. So I'm Hossein Azari. I have been working on a crypto business for 3 years now, focusing on enabling and making access to blockchain easy. We start from B2B side. Now we have expanded to actually further B2C after the DeFi summer and basically noticing the capabilities that protocols like Uniswap and Compound put out there and showed promise. If you go to our CMorq app page, actually up here, it was the first panel. This is the data stuff. So the app is what retail is now using. It's out there. We are the first basically DeFi banking service. We call it consumer DeFi. And what it means is really take DeFi and think about them as rails like you do. You hold assets in these addresses, you do lending, borrowing, you could do staking, exchange. So that gives you a kind of a full suite of different financial and banking services that you can make it available to everybody around the world. So our app can be downloaded in US, Argentina, Brazil, Southeast Asia, Middle East, anywhere in the world. You could create a wallet on on one of the blockchains, and you could use some funding services to fund them. You could then lend your assets through the protocols we integrate. You could borrow.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to the app as well. I want to make sure we have a chance to really talk about the company, but just your journey into crypto. What made you wake up and say, "Hey, I want to do a cryptocurrency company"?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my kind of familiarity with crypto goes back to 2011 when I was doing my PhD at Harvard. We were teaching a course, computational economics, that one session of it was actually on Bitcoin. Back then, Bitcoin was like $3, and it was it was mostly used in in a very limited group of people, very either nerds or very specific type. So, but we would study it. We would see it as a social experiment, and how can it take off? I mean, BitTorrent was another thing that we would study in depth. So this was a very interesting topic in computational economics, and how you get people to come together and do something without having a boss, basically. So, and basically called mechanism design in economics. So, and then I got a job at Google. I started making money that,
Low-key flex. I left Harvard and went to Google to see what was happening around that.
I was lucky. So I was lucky to get a job there. And then it was a pretty good environment. And they were paying me really well, which kind of started to giving me an issue that what do you do with money when you're paid well? And do a lot of entities and stuff out there really help you to spend it. So, but there's not much out there telling you what to do with your money, how to save, how to create wealth, how to basically build for your future, so, and your family's future. So that kind of motivated me to think about it. Especially inside Google, I wrote a proposal that why not build a financial assistant now that Google has been building the assistant, it was the first days of assistant back now. I was like, why not have an assistant that also tells you what to do with your money? So I went around. So long story short, I felt that I need to basically go out and do this as a kind of outside startup. It was kind of a different type of risk to take inside a big corporation that's not focused on finance. So, and the focus was really to build personal financial management and help people with understanding their money and using their money for best. So be it savings, lending, borrowing. So eventually doing that startup, learning more about banking, and also Ethereum kind of launching 2015, 16.
Were you already buying crypto at this time, by the way, or were you just observing the market?
Yeah, I was. I got into Ethereum earlier on, like so 2016.
Did you hold it or did you sell it?
Nice.
So there was a lot of like buying and selling, obviously. So, but yeah, the Ethereum kind of the promise and the theory was pretty exciting. So it was the 2016, the initial days of it. Obviously, I was doing this other startup that was more on the PFM side, on the like conventional rails. Ethereum was not ready to do anything of that sort yet. So we did that startup. It was successful, learned a ton from it. And then just coming out of it, seeing all the developments, I knew this is happening. I just didn't know how fast. And part of that was depending on like protocols like Compound, Uniswap, and folks like them to kind of get it working. So, and 2020 summer was the was the big break. So the moment that we saw all the volumes are going and it's working, it's stable, it's secure, we basically said that it's time. Let's go and build a personal financial management type app that uses the blockchain rails. You don't need
nice for sure. And we're like I said, we'll definitely jump into that app some more. I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to make sure we definitely give that app its time. Or
I love the app. So you leave me, I would talk about the app.
Hey, honestly, I'm not mad at you. Listen, he like, if you let me do it, I'm going to take it away. Hey, but no, I am curious, and thank you for giving us your journey into cryptocurrency. And we're always interested in hearing it from the Harvard point of view, from the San Francisco, Silicon Valley point of view. So your value, your thoughts here is tremendous value. So with all that, especially being in San Francisco, what are your thoughts on this Bitcoin mining council emerging, being headed up essentially by Michael Saylor and Elon Musk here?
Look, I think to me, it sounds like a really great reaction to the narrative out there, because the media side of things are always a little bit live in a different world. There's a lot of special emotions involved with it, which in the reality it might be different. But yeah, the response to an emotional reaction is another kind of way to deal with it, to kind of calm people down and say, look, we are curious and we are thoughtful. We are not just going around and trying to destroy the environment. So I think as a kind of a high level view, it's definitely a good response. I don't know what this commission supposed to do and like how they will lead it. Obviously, as Isaiah brought up, there's the kind of always what I say. I mean, in our company, kind of beware of centralization around the decentralization. So our thesis is the more decentralized we become ourselves, the more aligned we are with blockchain and Bitcoin and Ethereum. And to me, if you look at the last 10 years, it has been a short time, but any centralized effort around these blockchains have been kind of chewed and spit out by the blockchain itself, in my opinion. So you try to grab this thing. This is kind of a very heavy momentum moving, in my opinion, revolution. And centralization have really little chance to push it back. So I'm not worried about that. I think it's a good thing that's being discussed, and I look forward to see what comes out of it. I do have some general also view around this mining and Bitcoin specifically. I think there's a little bit of a kind of some people have religious view, like mining is the last resort. In my opinion, when Satoshi was writing that paper and designing those stuff, they just sat down and they said, okay, we need a solution for this. And they came up with something that was kind of bulletproof that would work. But I don't think they were really thinking about optimizing the energy side of that. They were basically looking for an alternative and solution. And as we know, as more kind of smart people think about these stuff, there's a staking, there are other solutions that are coming up. So I see Bitcoin and especially mining as V0 of these things. This is like MS-DOS, you know, if you want an
I'm
Well, I
actually
wanna-
glad you brought. I have a question for you. I'm glad you brought that up. So, because our thing here, we're not a fan of this energy whole conversation in general, because we feel like, just let's talk America itself. There's so many societal issues going on. Why are we even focusing on energy when we're talking about a global financial system? To us, like, that blows our mind.
Yeah, I mean, look, it comes up. It is part of the kind of the higher level narrative that I think also gets a little bit emotional. But I mean, there's simple examples just to think about, like how much energy your current banking system consumes. Forget the current banking system. Let's sit down and calculate how much gas we burn moving around cash every day from central banks to banks. Somebody needs to calculate that, and I bet it's nothing to sneeze at.
I was gonna say Galaxy Digital. They did that. They did a report, and they said they use twice as much. Banks and ATMs use twice as much energy as Bitcoin. So I mean, we already have big energy uses, and we use the petrodollar. Like you said, nobody stopped using gas.
Neither is good, right? I think we need to fix all of them, but at the same time, when you are working on something new, sometimes these are the factors that you need to deal with, right? It's the ancillary stuff that it makes people to question. I think it's more to me, these questions are more question of integrity to your kind of mission. If you are really thinking to change the world for good, in your past, you should be very aware of all these ancillary stuff as well. And I think the answer to that is, look, Bitcoin was V0. We have moved on. We have a staking, and we have all these new things that we have thought about this. Staking is not a new thing. This thing has been going on for a long while, way before these people figured out Bitcoin consumes a lot of energy. So we are aware, we are fixing it, and we have fixed to a good extent. And I love that they have this commission basically probably in the same direction to say, hey, we're on top of it. It's not something that we missed, and thanks for the reminder type stuff. So
that's interesting. I want to give a shout out to Geechee Sultan for sure. What's up, Geechee? I like that name. Shout out to Kwame. He's been holding it down. I have to be honest. I'm glad we have you on, Hossein, today, because I'm like on the other side of Al from you. But I'm glad we have you, because we always try to figure out where some of these talking points and conversations come from, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it. So,
and Hossein, let me ask you too, as far as decentralization, like you said, with the mining aspect of China, with the news that came out, because we're talking about the renewable energy, and that they're trying to shut down plants that don't have the transparency, or they use coal mining. Do you think moving away from China, having miners more in the US or other places helps with decentralization, or does it get into the hands of people who are trying to centralize decentralization?
Yeah, that's a good question. And my general view on mining is, look, mining is not like a bank owning the records. It is nothing similar. Yeah. Even if a miner really gets prominence and like gets a lot of the mining power, all they do is they just issue this record in a database that is shared with everybody. The moment they issue that, that's everybody's. We run nodes, right? We are as good as those miners the moment after the block is issued. And we are as good as those miners the moment before the block is issued. So the only thing the miner does is to take that and issue the record. Yes, they could become adversarial and try to make that record faulty and like try to like manipulate it, but it will be identified, and there will be other miners that they will do the right thing. So miners are as good as doing the right stuff or doing it the right way. So that's why, like, even if a miner has a lot of mining power, it is not even close to, say, a bank holding all the records and all the like basically stuff in there, because that way they really have the centralized power. So that said, centralization in mining definitely pushes the fees up. It makes it, from a consumer DeFi perspective, when we think about it, we do think that miners should be more aligned with the users, especially in DeFi, with the users of these platforms. And unfortunately, that's a little bit not aligned at this point. They are pros to that. So the fact that they're not aligned makes them independent. So they don't have the they have less manipulation power on consumer DeFi. But at the same time, that independence is in some cases, for example, gas prices being really high, I think that stops these platforms to grow. So the answer is basically both yes and no. No, in the sense that no, never they're going to be centralized enough like the banking system we have. The answer is yes, is kind of we are falling on our own sword in a sense, because if the gas fees are low, then more people will use it, and it's going to be better for even the miners. But just that incentives are a little bit not aligned, which again, I hate to keep saying staking, but it's something that is powerful, and I think it resolves more of those problems as they unroll.
So last, I would definitely give my thoughts on this story as well. I'm seeing some great comments coming in. Bitcoin Classic, this is a great comment. Would this commission news be different if it wasn't Elon Musk front running it? And to my thoughts, yes, or excuse me, no, actually. Whether it's Elon Musk front runner or let's say just some guy out the blue that's been in crypto for 10 years, is just a true crypto enthusiast, it's a slippery slope to me. This is like the whole World Health Organization and all that. It's like, here we go again. We got, all right, this is the way we have to do things, right? Like right now, to me, it's optional. I guarantee you in 3 to 5 years, it'll be optional mandatory. And then 5 to 10 years, it'll be mandatory. Oh, you're not doing it like this? There's going to be regulatory issues that come your way. Oh, you don't have these licenses to run these type of exchanges to do this type of renewable energy. Is like, hell no. None of these are more barriers to Bitcoin. There are no barriers to Bitcoin, period. That is the point of it. So I'm not a fan of seeing Elon Musk and Michael Saylor do this. I mean, hey, it is what it is. I think we'll see more of this. This won't be the first council they start for Bitcoin. And as someone mentioned, even if it's not Elon Musk or Michael Saylor, it won't be the first council started for Bitcoin. I'm against it all for the most part because, like I said, how long will they go keeping it self-regulated? Self-regulated. If it stays self-regulated, I'm all for it. If it stays decentralized, self-regulated. But again, we're already talking about money. The energy, renewable energy is taking over the conversation. I just don't think it will stay unregulated or self-regulated for much longer. So I don't know. It kind of scares me when I think about it.
Hopefully they don't turn into OPEC and try and
that's what I mean. That's not nothing like that.
I mean, honestly, you know, that's what you hope for. But again, I think it's a slippery slope. Elon is a big narcissist, in my opinion. I think he wants to save the day. And it's funny because Hossein said it before. He said last time somebody tried to centralize, it got crushed. Remember SegWit, people? If you weren't here in 2017, everybody who was on the wrong side of SegWit, I haven't heard from them since 2017. At all. Like our industry cleans out pretty good well.
And that's the beauty of decentralization. The name is on its own, right? I mean, so these folks could try, but just think about, like, I mean, and again, kudos to them for the great stuff they have done. And like, but Michael Saylor, I saw an interview from him that he was basically saying the only digital asset is Bitcoin, only crypto is Bitcoin. And like the fact that they're not even recognizing something like Ethereum and Solana, Polkadot, all these new innovation. So innovation leads the way. So that's the world we live in. That's the country we live in. We have led the world with innovation for last, almost 100 years. So just to stand in front of innovation is I think a bad idea. And when I see even folks with their caliber of, being innovative on their own stuff, to just not see the obvious stuff, obvious facts and obvious tools that are being created on these platforms, I already feel that decentralization will move on. If you don't align yourself with these platforms to serve people, decentralize the world, serve people, and build a more level financial playing field for everybody, I think you will be chewed and spit out by these platforms, because it is the kind of definition of a grassroots movement.
Yeah. And that was actually a great segue to start talking about you and your company. Really quick, Chizuk Huxtable, my CNBC for crypto. Thank you for the tip. We appreciate it. If you're just now joining us again, we have Hossein Azari here with us, who has been on the cutting edge of blockchain data and cryptocurrency since 2015, after co-founding his first fintech startup with Adam Dale, Clarity Money, which was acquired by Goldman Sachs in 2018 for $100 million. Following the acquisition, Hossein began his journey to build a data management platform that allows everyday consumers to access blockchain information through an easy to use interface. This has led him to become the founder and CEO of CMorq, CMorq, which I'll bring up that in a moment, whose goal is leveling the financial playing field by developing financial management tools and novel products to establish and maintain consumers' ownership. So again, I'm going to bring up that app. And I guess really quick, Hossein, what was your part in that Clarity money? And then what did you learn from that to, I guess, make you want to do CMorq for blockchain data?
Yeah, I got into that with a lot of motivation on, okay, personal finance and how we build the stuff, right? But not knowing much about banking system, not knowing much about the finance side of it, quite honestly. But through those couple of years, I also did this program at Columbia Business School, and I took every course I could in banking law, banking operations, finance. And it was pretty good journey to like learn about like Dodd-Frank, why do we have it, and also see it in practice. And I think my biggest epiphany through that period was that we have built some rails for financial system and some rails that 40 years ago was the world leading, which helped us to lead the world. So unfortunately, we haven't innovated on our financial rails and infrastructure as much. That's what I learned through my journey. And the funny example that I tell people is these younger folks that we have in our company, they don't even know what Yahoo Messenger is. Right?
You don't know about that 2 a.m. AOL chat box?
Yeah, think about this hyper-terminal, right? I mean, I'm not even going that far back. I'm talking like Yahoo Messenger, and we have gone like multiple versions and multiple updates and iterations on the simple tech we use for messaging. And unfortunately, it is not the same with the financial infrastructure. So and really seeing that and touching that on two fronts. One is the technological. How limited technologically it is, which basically stops you from innovating. A little thing that you want to do, depending on these stuff that are kind of built legacy, and there's so much of basically red tapes around. So, and then the other side is what I learned, and this one was kind of gives me a little bit of pain to even think about, is how skewed is the financial system. You know, we have built a system, unfortunately, that charges lower income more for banking services. So on average, the financial system charges the user something around 2 to 3%. But if you look at lower income, this goes up even higher, high up to 10 or higher. So we basically have built a system that tells somebody who doesn't have enough money or lower income or poor, that you need to kind of give me more money and keep them kind of like not help them, not only just help them out, but kind of make them even like take a 10% cut off what they're even earning. So Americans are paying something around $120 billion in interest to what they are kind of borrowing from these banks. And this is for credit cards for like 16% APRs, right? While if you put your money in a bank, the best offer you get is 0.65, 0.7%. So
Trash.
That gap is what we are taking from consumer and mostly lower income, and putting it in pockets of people that they don't even know these groups. They don't even have a feeling about them. And I think that was kind of on the business side. It's a very kind of a big learning that the system is unfortunately skewed, and there are good reasons for that, because banking services was a costly operation, has also been a costly operation if you do it like with the 40-year-old system, like, you know, having people over there, like all that cost that you need to
right, the people, the bank, the actual licensing itself. Yeah, for sure.
So while somebody can download CMorq app and create a wallet on blockchain, which CMorq doesn't even touch, right? And that process is very cheap and very fast. And so forget about US. In the rest of the world, that would be the best kind of way of keeping your assets in like countries that they don't even have a proper banking system. And I think that was my learning, that we have infrastructure that is technologically limited and business-wise built in a skewed way, and that's where the leveling the playing field comes from. I mean, not only I believe it should be level, I think banking system should charge lower income, less fees, and should charge higher income and high earner when they kind of when somebody's making like $100,000 on a trade, they would pay a bigger cut of it. You know, I mean, they're happy, they're making a lot of money. So
off of are we talking about like a regular trade or a crypto trade?
Crypto, regular, whatever, man. I mean,
I hope they don't touch my crypto. But I guess my question. So first question, when I'm looking at your app, is it already launched, correct?
Yes, it's up.
And yeah, I just downloaded it while we was on the show. So yeah, it's right
perfect.
here.
And it looks amazing.
Download CMorq.
One more user already.
There it is. And it looks amazing, but I have to ask this because I know we have this is the hot new thing right now. And I think this may be one of the hotter new things in the next year. And you have a great early start to it, but that's going to be the wallet and the mobile apps, so wallet applications and where they will go. We're looking at Exodus already. We know Exodus is about to go public. And we've been working with a ton of other projects. We're actually going to have, I think the co-founder of Divi come on soon, and he wants to talk about his mobile app. We got a couple more who want to talk about their mobile app. So what makes your mobile wallet and your mobile app different than all these competitors out there? Why should we download and use yours?
Yeah, we actually welcome competition in this space, because I think as far as you're fighting for consumer, you are in the same side as us. So what we won't forget and put it like as our kind of on top of our manifesto is, we are building a product with focus on consumer. We don't care about competition. If I win the consumer, I give them a better deal, I give them an easier way to use these stuff for good. I think we are winners. So you know, I'm inspired by, like, if you listen to Jeff Bezos back in 96, 97, they asked him similar questions, and we are far away from like turning to be companies or folks like him. But his answer to like competition, the early days of internet, is like, he doesn't even care. He's like, I'm just building something that consumer will be happy to use. So, and in the finance side, we have a lot to do. You know, we have a lot to do and a long way to go building something that really focuses on consumer. It doesn't focus on group of people who understand the crypto, or group of people who are trading every day on like apps like, you know, Robinhood. This is someone, a regular American, a regular person in the world, a regular American who is just making some income, tries to save, tries to like buy a house at some point, like save for their kids. Like really, they don't care what it is called. It could be called crypto, it could be called something else. They are looking for a better deal. So and we are really building for those. And I got to really see these users close up, like with my last startup, and I noticed like the pain that they just want someone to understand what it means to pay 24% APR on a situation that, you know, everybody, I have been in that situation. Everybody,
right, for sure. We all know how that feels.
So exactly. So that shouldn't be the case in our country and in general in the world. So we are focused on that. And I think that mission and that focus, if everybody else does that as well, I'll be happy. If they don't, I think that's going to help us win.
So real quick, elevator pitch. You know, you see me on the elevator. I'm a 19, 20-year-old guy. I think I'm the hot shit. I'm in the Dogecoin. Listen, man, I'm up a lot. You can't tell me nothing, all right? All that good stuff is going on. You notice I'm on my phone and you tell me about your crypto app. What would you tell me so I can understand what your app does and will make me actually use it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'll tell you like a one-liner elevator pitch, but I'll also like bring up something that I think is an issue that we are dealing as a society and country. So the one-liner pitch is really join a financial world that puts you first and your future first. You are young, but this is the best time for you to start. So start early, join this, and learn as you go. And do it with consumer DeFi This is not the old way of doing things. This is the new way of doing things. And that's the pitch. That's what, you know, every young mind is looking for, the new ways of doing this stuff. And it works. And as long as there's a growth and there's a learning component to it, they're all for it. So as a kind of a longer discussion on this, again, another unfortunate fact is we don't teach personal finance in high school. We don't teach personal finance in undergrad. We should.
Right.
People should learn about how do you handle your money? How do you save? You're going to need a mortgage in 10 years. You're going to need to do this, do that. Be prepared for it. And guess what? If banks for a moment could profit from every 18-year-old kid knowing about banking and personal finance, they would be donating a lot of money, and they would be having these programs in high schools teaching people about everything about personal finance. But that's not happening. You know why? Because that kid that you're mentioning in the elevator, that kid, yes, he might be like doing some Dogecoin stuff and losing some money, but even that is better than, you know, letting them to not learn, because at least they might lose like $500, but they are learning something that could cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars down the road. So I would rather that kid to learn by like trading around Dogecoin than spending the same money to go to a theater and watch a movie. So the really education of finance and pushing this like early on to like 18-year-old, 20-year-old who is starting, and I have been there, and I wish I had a better understanding of these things. So is something we need to do. That's an unfortunate fact that hasn't happened. But the amazing thing here is banks might not be incentivized to do that, right? But as a crypto company, we are.
Because that's good. We always push for the kids. So like exactly my thing is, when it comes to your wallet though, how would your wallet help like that young trader or investor? Because you aggregate data on your wallet, correct?
So the wallet is so for example, Ethereum wallet. So you could save into it. You could lend in our app, get some interest on your stuff. You could borrow against your assets in our app and use that cash if you need to. There's obviously exchange functionality if you want to do some trades, but we don't really promote trading behavior. What we think is, here is simple math, right? If you save $50 a month, right? So that's like $600 a year. Over 10 years, that will be $6,000. And if this asset class does, say hypothetically, nobody can promise these things, does it 10x, right? Then you have $60,000, like with really, even the taxes would be capital gains in 10 years. And that's a damn good down payment for your mortgage out of really $50 a month, which is your really movie theater fund. So, right, like skipping one movie a month. So, or you know, something, you know, it's like a couple of coffees. So, and that is the math. That is, I think, what we need to do for the new generation as a product, and allow people, enable people to get on these platforms. And that's what we are opposed to, like with like create your wallet, do these savings, earn on your assets. We are gonna, I think we should get into this Ray Dalio discussion and start talking about the earning stuff, because that's very relevant.
Yeah, it's crazy to see this, but as Bitcoins, they said, you know, banks will come to Bitcoin, and we're seeing that. Ray Dalio in the news. I'd rather Bitcoin over bonds. Billionaire investor Ray Dalio believes Bitcoin is a better buy than bonds. Again, excited to see this type of news, mainstream adoption, mainstream news, base hit. As always, I'm still going to point out he's saying this in May of 2021. So I hate the fact that he has so much influence over people in markets to the point where he can literally say this almost 13 years into the project, and then, but oh yeah, this is a good buy, people. It's like, tell people that when it's $400. Don't tell them that.
Yeah. I mean, Ray Dalio spent the last 3 years saying why he wouldn't buy it. And then, of course, now it seems safe for everybody to join in. And because he's the co-chairman and co-CIO of Bridgewater Associates, they do have a lot of pull in this market. But he actually says the more we create savings in Bitcoin, the more you might say, I'd rather have Bitcoin than the bond. Personally, I'd rather have Bitcoin than a bond. Of course you would. I just did an interview the other day talking about negative yield bonds. Who wants to hold negative yield bonds when you have Bitcoin sitting right there?
How did your Fox News interview go as well?
Oh, it was amazing. I think they were kind of caught off guard because they kept thinking I was going to give Elon acknowledgement. I kept saying we don't need them. We don't need
There we
billionaires. We
go.
don't need
Hey.
Goldman Sachs. Anybody that saw the Fox Business interview yesterday, hit us up in the chat. But yeah, I mean, we don't need Ray Dalio. I mean, that's the ethos of this market, is that it's more of us than them. The special 1% class that tries to control everything, there's 99% of us that we don't have to worry about them ever again. So even though he does say this makes it valid in the eyes of people who need validation. We don't. Bitcoin went from 0 to 60,000 without him. We'll keep going as well. But him saying that, I think, is important, because when people look at the bond market, if I'm not mistaken, the bond market is well over 50 trillion or 20 trillion, something like that. If you start telling people that they shouldn't hold their bonds that they've been holding, or that these countries shouldn't hold bonds, and they start moving it into Bitcoin, that's the hyper Bitcoinization phase. That may take another 5 years, but that's when you start seeing $10,000, $20,000 candles in one day. And we just saw it the other day. We saw two $10,000 candles in one day, where the price came from 60,000 down. So when we get into the 100, 500,000 range, I mean,
I'm calling out at 102, 103,000. Once it crosses 100,000 mark, wherever it lands on, expect a $20,000 drop. It's going to be. I'm thinking it's going to be an $18,000 to $22,000 drop.
Oh yeah. But I think Dalio and others are starting to see what we've been saying for years, almost a decade now. We've been telling people, as a savings account, there's nothing even close, and we've been proven right with a 200% compound annual growth, which is the best of any asset in American history. So, of course, Dalio wants to put his savings in there, and it's also catching rich people by surprise, because they all think it's just poor college students or young people that are getting rich with all these funny coins. No, that cash you have sitting there is in trouble if we have some sort of hyperinflation. So you do want to have something that beats inflation year over year. That's Bitcoin, and it damn sure is not bonds. I can tell you that right now. So thanks, Dalio, for saying it out loud. But yeah, we've definitely been saying it for years.
And it's crazy. Again, he also added that the more savings that go into crypto, the less power governments have over ordinary people's capital. I'm assuming that's a nod to Bitcoin and Black America. He is saying, I know I came late, guys. I understand the principles here. But he also mentioned that the government may try to kill it, and they have a lot of power to succeed. I don't think they'll kill it, but they'll definitely slow it down. But regardless, what are your thoughts? You got an ours. What are your thoughts, Hossein, when it comes to Bitcoin over bonds from billionaire investor Ray Dalio?
Look, I mean, to your point earlier, so the more people, this is a movement, right? You can join it. You can say good stuff about it. You cannot own it. You cannot take credit for it. But sure, you can say good stuff. You could compare and say this is better than water I drink. So it's just an opinion that's positive. So that's good. But I totally agree with also the discussion around these things shouldn't be leading the narrative, because we saw what happened with Elon Musk, right? So somebody starts leading the narrative, then they start, doing something else. It makes it more volatile. I don't think it's going to kill it or whatever, but it just makes it more volatile. And to us, especially, we are building a consumer DeFi platform. We don't want volatility. We don't want shocks like this. We just want to your point, you said 200% year over year. We just want a slow, but the same numbers, just keep going. So good.
Yeah.
That's what we want. And that's what I think everyone else should want. It's a gross asset. Take Google stock, Amazon stock, something like that. So the other thing that kind of pops up here in the governments and stuff, I think, and I this is a kind of a little bit of a complaint, but I think it is really, sorry for the use of the word, but it's really dumb to kind of put up Bitcoin against US dollar. All this narrative that Bitcoin is a replacement to US dollar or whatsoever. I mean, there's just that narrative can only hurt. So, I mean, the first response for that I have is look, if Bitcoin was a threat to US dollar, China wouldn't be banning it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Simple thing. The fact that they're banning these stuff means that they don't see that. And I think that's correct. It is not a threat against US dollar. US dollar is backed by world's leading economy, world's largest military, and world's most successful republic. So it's not like any other thing that because you can transact on a network, all of a sudden it is a better alternative to US dollar. But to your point, it is a really good asset class. It is like basically somebody selling you in 90s some sort of options to buy part of internet, to own part of internet, right? To me, Ethereum is like those options. They are call options on the future of a financial world that is more level, that is more productive. So, and in this case, people have the capability to buy it. It is not just your, VCs and like private guys to own like Amazon and Google. This is something that every person who is using these platforms could buy it and benefit from it, and that's why it's very even more powerful. So it's a gross asset class, and it is not something against US dollar. And that every time somebody says stuff like this, oh, Bitcoin is kind of going to take over US dollar, Bitcoin is going to take over like bonds, it is just a kind of a non-productive approach. There are some people that they love bonds, and they might want to buy Bitcoin.
I'm actually with you on this argument. I don't wholeheartedly agree, but from a business point, I am 100% with you, because you're right about that. I get what you're saying. You're right with the narrative and to make sure the show and everything keeps rolling. Hey, it's not going to beat out the dollar and bonds. It's his own separate thing. Don't worry about Bitcoin, folks. It's doing
his own payment
thing.
network. Yeah, don't worry about it. So if that's the case, don't tax it.
Look.
That's true.
That's
the only holdup.
I think you said it. This is a gross asset. This is like Amazon and Google stock. I think I identified that, and Google and Amazon stock was not a threat against US dollar. It was not a threat against bond market. It was a threat against all kind of old ways of doing stuff.
Right.
They took away. So, and that these narratives often come from people who are just worried about something else, and they're kind of putting things against each other that they don't match.
Yeah,
this is a gross asset. It's going to keep growing because people are going to keep supporting it until people keep supporting it. If people stop supporting them, they will stop growing. And the more you build to get people on supporting these and benefiting from them, that's what CMorq does. The more promise we have in the space. Simple.
For sure. And I want to also say again, we have Hossein Azari on. Thank you for joining us today. And he was here with this company, CMorq, your gateway to crypto. They have a new app out as well. You can do all types of cool stuff on it. Looks like we're going to be checking that out. And let's see. Now, as far as just your organized blockchain data, now this isn't for the retail customer. Who's using this?
So this is used by, basically it's segment agnostic. It is used by exchanges, by auditors, by staking companies, by some analytics companies, folks who need this data. Look, this is public data, it's out there, right? So we just pull it, organize it, and make it available for someone who doesn't necessarily want to go run these nodes, do all the work of like cleaning them up. We do it for ourselves, so why not just sell it? So, I mean, and this model has been around. Like, again, we are inspired a lot by how Amazon does stuff. Like AWS is what they basically started selling their own infrastructure. This is akin to that. So we have this data, public data that's out there on the blockchains. We have organized it. If you are a company, you need this type of data, you don't want to run the nodes, we will give it to you with a very, very kind of reasonable pricing that is much less than any other operations that you would need to have to get this data. And that in turn kind of gets us some partners on the B2B side.
Nice. And that's what I was asking, because we do have businesses here as well that listen in. It's not just retail. We actually have a lot of businesses who may want to utilize it. And then, so essentially for the wallet sector, because we have a live user asking, Jams, thanks Jams Jetson. It looks like he uses some other wallets, maybe similar capabilities, but he just wants to be sure that your wallet aggregates DeFi across chains, correct?
Yes, our app, so there are two functionalities. One is you could add your addresses and we would show you the data, the ownership, the holding and stuff. So that is across multiple blockchains. So it's not just Ethereum or has like Bitcoin sisters or some other blockchains. So that is just pulling data, right? You put your address, you pull data. We don't need an account from you. We don't know who you are. We don't want to know who you are. So you just get in, see your assets organized. So there's also more functionalities on the DeFi side. Now, if you have a wallet and you want to kind of connect basically the wallet and then go live with it, do like lending, do borrowing, do transactions, then you can also do that. So, and that is kind of you could connect your actual wallet from other places, like, for example, MetaMask,
MetaMask.
Rainbow. You could connect your wallets as well to CMorq app and both see your holdings as well as kind of use our app. But you could also create a wallet through the CMorq app itself, which it will just be added into your address list. So we cover all kind of use cases. If you just want to see the data, you put your address, you see the data. If you want to connect some other wallets and do your transactions, you connect your other wallet, do your transactions. If you want to start from scratch, create a new wallet, fund it, you could do that too.
Were you guys already audited?
I'm looking at it right now. Well, go ahead.
Real quick, Zay, were you all already, did you have a security audit?
So on our data side, so we are a SOC 2 Type 2 audited company. So this is on our data pipelines.
But not on the wallet side?
So the app is a newer development. We are going to be
I got you.
Audited down this, like, you know, it's a cyclical yearly audit. So this year when we are audited, we are going to have consideration around kind of auditing our newer developments as well.
Nice. Go ahead, Zay, my fault.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I was just saying, I'm looking at the wallet now, very intuitive. Love the fact that you can do everything within the app, but there's no information needed to start. Literally, you just start and you connect the wallet. And I love the fact that, again, when you say DeFi, this allows people to enter a financial space that normally they may not be able to do. You got to give information. You got to show up at a bank. You got to have a card. All of that is gone with apps like this. So good to see. You got exchange, you can earn, and like you said, borrow, stake, all of these things enter you into the financial market. So yeah, it looks good so far.
That's nice. All you need, man. Like if people are asking for you for your email or for your name or whatsoever without a reason, then that's not good, right? That's what we say, beware of centralization around decentralization. So if you want to recover your password, if you lost it and you want CMorq to help, then down the road, you could give us your, for example, phone number. There's a funnel for that. You could choose not to, but any data that we would collect would be for a really good reason. Otherwise, we really don't want to collect any data that we don't need as a company, and you don't need to share, like to you know, to do financial transactions. So and that's really at the core of what we are building, and making it simple and allowing people everywhere in the world, not just US, not just Americas, but anywhere in the world who, you know, obviously the laws that we are operating under allows us. We would enable people to use the app, use the data products, use the wallet products, and use the DeFi.
Well, I certainly can't wait to try it out, because like I said, this is about to be the new rage. I can tell the smart wallets, but I have not yet seen a wallet, or I guess an app, that does all of this together at one time. So I will give you that. It's my first time. A couple people in the chat box said it might only be one other person that's doing a DeFi thing, but I haven't seen everything total. What were you gonna say, Hossein?
We haven't even like covered all of it. We have actually a collectible feed. We will show you your NFTs.
Yeah, you got NFTs in there too. I was gonna say that.
Yeah. You can see your NFTs, and you could actually make them your profile picture. You see how I made over there, like Mark Cuban's picture, my profile picture.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
That's an NFT that address owns. So you make it your profile picture. You know, like think about the concept of wallets, right? You put your family's picture in there, right? So your wallet, your private wallet. So this is the same. I have my cat's picture in my personal wallet, and it's out there. So, but I mean, really, like you could see your collectibles. You could go like buy, sell collectibles through their like providers. So this is kind of the new era that, like, you know, digital ownership and digital assets are gonna make our lives much easier. So, and we are just happy to be alive in this time and doing this. It's super exciting day.
Well, hey, thanks. And we appreciate you being here with us. I did not realize we were going to run this long, but we learned a lot. And again, I can't wait to check out this app. When did it release officially?
So we have been doing a soft launch from December time, but we have been adding more features as we go, and we're just going to keep adding more and more. So it's out there. It's going to be better next week.
Ever evolving.
So ever evolving, because this is spaces that were evolving, man. They're like new protocols that they didn't really, like, you know, were not operational, but that today they're super amazing, and we just want to integrate them. So we keep going.
There's a last question actually for you. Someone said, is it available on Android also?
Coming. So we are working hard to push it out. coming very soon.
Boom, there it is. All right. Well, hey, again, Hossein Azari, thank you for coming on and talking to us about your company, CMorq, as well as the new wallet and app that's out. Again, can't wait to check it out. Isaiah liked it since he said he had to click nothing at all to get logged on. And those are my favorite types. If I got to put any information, I'm already like, delete.
That's why I had to do it live on the show, because that's what people don't understand. The app shouldn't take information. It doesn't need to if it's really DeFi. So yeah, I'm glad for that, Hossein.
There we go. All right.
Me too. And it's the product that I'm the first user. So we build these for ourselves. So appreciate the time. This was super exciting, the discussion. Thank you very much, guys. And let's stay in touch and definitely give us more feedback on the app as you use it.
For sure. Much appreciated as well, you coming in. And then Bitcoin's there. You got any last things?
No last things from me. That's pretty much all today. Appreciate Hossein coming on. We'll give you a hand, brother.
Hey, a hand clap.
Of crypto, and cliff highs on Thursday, right?
I was just about to say, yes. Thank you to all those warriors who helped us out. I saw people asking at the top of the show. We do have Cliff High. Cliff High will be here for an interview on Thursday, so make sure you check it out. That is one you definitely do not want to miss, people. I'm talking about
that one might be 2 hours.
Yeah, it might. Hey, honestly, it might be 2 hours. Listen, people, crypto OG, triple OG, double triple OG. All right, we in here. Thank you for watching. Make sure